Probable air temperature around about 10 degrees. The revs start to rise as we get set for race 2 of the GMC 400. 32 storming V8s on the grid. And we're away. Brad Jones.
Oh, look at Tander.
Look at, yeah, brilliant start by Tander as we head toward turn 1 for the first time. And Jones in the Aussie Male Ford has it. Tander forces Anthony Tratt out wide. He's going to get hung out to dry there. Rodney Ford comes to come through as well.
Look at it.
And this is like a parking lot. Russell
Ingle over the shaft.
Wow. I wonder if the officials are going to be looking there.
I think he might get his leg slapped for that.
Well, the track was effectively blocked. It was like a car park down there. No one was able to move. They're all back in first gear. So this shows how tight that turn 1 is when you try and put them through at one hit. Anyway, they've got through relatively unscathed.
Look at this lot.
As they fire up Kings Avenue for the first time. There's the race analysis, the Ford Livet. Race analysis, 25 laps, 97.5 k's the distance, 31 starters on the grid now. And of course, that pit window for the compulsory tyre stop between laps 2 and 17. And I reckon today, after seeing that winning strategy by Greg Murphy yesterday, a lot of these cars are going to be into the pit lane as soon as they can.
Quite right there, Mark. That'll be one to keep an eye on. Only 31 cars in this field. Courtesy of the fact that we've lost the Pertec entry of Craig Baird. Now, if you've just joined us, we've had a change of position here. Tander leading from our pole sitter, Brad Jones, who looks as though he's sporting a little bit of damage to the front spoiler of the Aussie Male Ford. We'll keep a close eye on that as they work down the back of Flynn Drive for the first time through this chicane. No damage to the Aussie Male Ford, but very sideways though. Brad Jones on the exit of that. Now up along Flynn Place, they work up through the gearbox of the Fords and Holdens. Look at them line astern, this huge field of V8s thundering down.
I spoke to Cameron McLean yesterday after he broke down. He said, I'm going to win this thing today. You've got to admit, he was flying yesterday. And
well, actually, yesterday, Baz, it wasn't actually his tyres. It was a puncture.
Yes, yeah.
A slow puncture in his left rear that was slowing him down. The tyre went down gradually over the course of 2 or 3 laps. Eventually, it blew out. But that was very, very costly for Cameron. He's really pumped up for a good result here today. There he is,
yeah.
4th in the queue.
Anthony Tratt sits further back in the field. He started on the front row, but the former Porsche Cup competitor in the Toll Express Ford is just simply being out-muscled here. Stephen Johnson trying to get around him. This is the Shell Helix replay.
Oh, yeah, this is Ingle at the start here. Right, let's have a look. Hopefully we'll get a look at his eye view to see... that's obviously him going over the curb.
Well, you can,
right, okay.
Well, there was about 4 or 5 cars stuck.
Yeah, stopped on the left-hand side. Oh, look at the back of, who's that, Crompton's thing, is it? Or Crompton or Seaton?
Well, the battle continues. Garth Tander quickly jumped Brad Jones on that first lap, got up to first position. Rodney Forbes in the wins machine is in 3rd place. Cameron McLean behind. Anthony Tratt. Sends it back to Stephen Johnson. Stephen Ellery, Paul Morris, Todd Kelly and Tony Longhurst. Anthony
Tratt, I think that is slowing down, Barry. You're quite right there.
Yeah.
So Tratt slowing down. That's rotten luck for the man who started on the front row of this race. Out in front, though, it is Garth Tander. There's Tratt, the Toll Ford, giving way to the rest of the field. Bargwana storming through there.
And we hear from pit lane, Greg, that about 80% of the pit crews lined up there are all getting ready for stops. So I think we're going to see an absolute flood of cars very, very soon.
Like a Myers or Grace Brothers car park in a few moments' time, isn't it?
It was like a lottery yesterday, though, because if they hadn't have had that pace car after, what was it, the 3rd lap or whatever it was, then it would have been a really very, very different result.
Well, that's the thing. The safety car can either fall in your lap or it can work against you.
Exactly that.
And it really is a lottery system. Here they come up toward pit straight once again, and the cars are going to start filing in straight away. Tander's in. Brad Jones is in. Rodney Forbes. Cameron McLean. Stephen Ellery. Look at them all.
Yep. Larkham's coming in too by the looks of things. So too Larry Perkins. So this is a real parking lot situation here, and let's get an idea of just how quick these stops are going to be.
And it's just interesting too to watch the other cars that continued on their way. So probably half the field is still going, half have decided to pit. This is going to be fascinating as this race unfolds. Mark Poole in there too. K&J thermal car, a 4-wheel. Brad Jones getting back out.
Tander made a quick stop too, Mark.
Every second critical here. A reminder that cars can no longer pit under safety car. The pits are closed under a caution car period.
Watch out,
come on.
That's Rodney Forbes.
Rodney Forbes wheels.
Now that is a costly mistake there. And we also hear from the pits too that Brad Jones has actually gotten out ahead of Garth Tander. So we'll keep an eye on that one for you. This is John Bowes Caterpillar Ford.
Yeah, I think JB hit the tyres over the back somewhere. Yeah, the back roundabout.
Meanwhile, back to the lead. Looks like Stephen Johnson probably. Yep, 17. He chose not to pit, so he's still out in the road with Paul Morris behind him. Todd Kelly. This is looking out the back of Brad Jones, Aussie male forward, coming back out of the pits. He did jump Tander in that pit stop. So a great stop by the Aussie male team. Puts the Valvoline Cummins car in behind. Reminder, these guys have now made their compulsory tyre stop. They can run to the end of the race without having to revisit pit lane for any compulsory stops.
Bradley said about 10 minutes ago, he says, if I'm out in front there, I'm going to have a job getting past me. So we'll have to see.
They're a good team, the Jones operation. Brothers Bradley and Kim, based at Albury down on the New South Wales-Victorian border. Been very strong in every category of racing that they have entered. This is their first crack at V8 Supercar, and they're making good progress.
Brad's a two-time champion when he drove for Audi in the Super Touring Series. He's won a great many things, from production cars, NASCARs, and campaigned very successfully in the Oscar ranks. Now we go down to pit lane. This is Russell Ingall who's come in.
New Castrol Magnatech paint job, but the team are running just for this round. Russell gets back out into the action. So he chose to wait a lap until that first influx of cars got out of the way. You could see in pit lane, it was pretty chaotic when there were that many cars in there.
Oh, Tander!
Oh, dear me, Garth. Look at this. Wow.
Now that is on the turn that leads you up onto the front straight.
Front straight, yeah. It's so many bumps on the inside. Oh, broken steering arm. Listen, watch.
Oh, he was trying to run up the inside of Jones.
Oh!
Wow.
Wallop. You see, the last bang in the wall there would have broken the steering arm. Apparently, we heard on the radio that the steering arm was broken. That's costly, Mark.
Yep, that
very,
really is.
Very costly.
A reminder that... oh, look how hard he hit the wall.
Oh.
Well, this is helping, not helping, I should say. His championship campaign did well to win that third race at Darwin. Had problems at Eastern Creek and now problems in race 2. And what about yesterday? Yesterday wasn't kind to him either.
He was so fast in qualifying here. It's really turning very badly for Garth Tander.
I don't think the steering arm is broken, you know. It's,
well, you can just see he was trying to run up the inside of the Aussie male Falcon. He was...
Oh, listen.
So it looks like they're giving it the clean bill of health there, Baz, by the sounds of things.
Yeah, he said on him, but apparently he said on his radio he thought the steering arm was broken, but
he has given that wall a serious
really
cloud.
bad.
So things not going well for Valvoline Cummins, Garth Tander. His teammate Jason Bargwanna had a sensational run yesterday to finish second. Look at this again. Well, looks like he was trying to...
Well, he was trying to get up the inside of Brad Jones, and we didn't see right at the very beginning of it, but there was obviously not a lot of room there, and that's the price.
Valvoline Cummins.
Right, now look here, look.
Yeah, Garth probably saw the door was open, went for the gap, the door shut, and he's paid a price. He's right. Look at this again.
Look here.
Yeah, so he probably saw there was a sniff of an opportunity.
Yes,
I don't actually know that there was contact between the two of them. There's no mark on the front left of that Valvoline Cummins Commodore. It would seem to me that when he's gotten up on that curb on the inside with that front right, it's unsettled the car and possibly spun it.
Yeah, I think that what you find that once you realise there's not going to be any room, you sort of slow the thing up, and as you say, stuck it up on the curb, and probably didn't need any contact.
Brad Jones effectively would be doing very well leading this field. He sits on the road in 7th position, but that's because Paul Morris, Todd Kelly, Longhurst, Crompton, Richards and Mazira have yet to do their stops. So Jones is effectively a race leader and under siege from Stephen Johnson and Cameron McLean. Johnson, though, very handily positioned. It was a good call by Kim Jones to get Brad in that early.
Oh, look at this lock up there. Cameron McLean's got a major flat spot on that thing.
But this team have proved to be master strategists throughout their years in Oscar and NASCAR racing on the super speedways. And they made a great call there to put Brad at the front of the field. He's already made his stop. Let's have a look at the replay. Mark Larkham's car.
Driving down the inside of Greg Murphy. Yeah, and is it Radisich by the looks of it?
Well, Murphy's bumped. A collision between the Mitre 10 car and the Kmart machine. So yesterday's race winner does a spin. Hopefully he's been able to get back into the action. But this is just so typical of the elbowing that goes on around here. It's a narrow track. These are big, powerful and very heavy cars.
The good thing about it is, you know, with the reverse grid, it's not as if you had a load of slow guys at the front and quick guys at the back. There's a really good spread on the grid, and that's why it's producing some good racing.
Excellent. Brad Jones. Stephen Johnson in second position. Cameron McLean in third.
I tell you what, Cameron McLean, I bet he's got a massive flat spot on his front left tyre now.
These guys come filtering through here. Brad Jones being chased down by Stephen Johnson and McLean. These guys have all pitted that you can see on your screen here. There are several drivers in front that have yet to pit. The likes of Paul Morris, who's actually first on the road. Let's go down to the pit lane. Brad Jenya.
I'm here with Gary Rogers. Gary, how is Garth's car?
Well, it's drivable. I think that it's bent the steering somewhat, but I think he'll be able to press on for the rest of the race.
The nature with a reverse grid, obviously, and so much traffic around this tight circuit.
Yes, I mean, look, it's tight for everybody. It's unfortunate that it happened, but I suppose you've got to try and make your moves where you can. You know, you're obviously trying to do your best, and in hindsight, he probably should have stayed back, but that's all very well said and done after the event.
Let's hope he can press on.
I'm sure he will. Thank you.
Now, we're just doing some number crunching here during the course of Grant's discussion there with Gary Rogers. Tony Longhurst is effectively our race leader. He too has pitted. It is just in front, in fact, of Brad Jones and several others. John Bowders making his way back out to the circuit, sweeping up towards the Queen Victoria Terrace area after his pit stop.
Yeah, and all that kerfuffle of those pit stops, it was easy to see Longhurst sneak through there. So according to our timing monitors, after all those pit stops, Longhurst...
Look, escaping Cameron McLean. I don't know.
McLean's just held him out as they came through that section there, Barry, but yeah, they were dicing fiercely.
Really pretty close.
So at the moment, the Caltex Haviland Ford is effectively our race leader. There are still several drivers yet to pit.
Here's a look from way up high. The Goodyear blimp has been very good to us, and how effective it's been over this beautiful city of Canberra. Lake Burley Griffin, of course, underneath. New construction there. And this innovative race has produced lots of excitement. Don't forget the websites that are available to you today. Also, the V8 Supercar website, as we see Cameron McLean under pressure there in the pack. And later on today, Mark Oster will be joined by John Bow, so you can have a chat on the chat line with a guy who's had an extremely busy weekend. There it is. Check your times, of course, because it depends on what side of Australia you're on. But that's the chat room time for John Bow with Mark Osler. Plenty to talk about here, I'm sure. And this second day isn't even over yet. We'll return to commentary here. Mark Osler and Greg Rust to sort it all out for you.
Thanks, Billy. We do apologise, folks. During the course of the ad break, things have been changing. We'll take a closer look at this replay again here as Stephen Richards tries to dive down the inside of Jones.
Well, yeah, really, that's it. It's a bit of a racing thing. You know, you've got to take your chance where you can get it. But
how about
the guy,
Stephen Johnson?
Stephen Johnson, well, he just, oh, look at this. That's Mazera. Oh, just massive lock up there by the looks of it.
As we're going to say to you before, though, as so often happens in these races where there are pit stops, it does take time for the leaderboard to sort itself out. And just about everyone has done that now. We can tell you, after the completion of those tyre stops, Todd Kelly is the man who leads the field. Todd Kelly in the My Car Holden Young Lions entry is at the front of the pack, so well done. The 20-year-old youngster from Mildura leads this field from Neil Crompton in the Ford Tickford Racing entry. Look at this battle going on here between Crompton and Scaife, a bit further back in the pack.
Yes, Scaife and Cameron McLean are really fine hammer and tongs. Scaife's been up the inside about 3 times and not made it, so I think you might see a bit of contact there.
This is the battle for 8th position, and it's got a queue of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars up behind Cameron McLean.
Yeah, I think you'll find that Cameron will be suffering a bit, you know, with that big, he'd have a big flat spot on his front left, and that's because he's definitely slowing Scaife up at the moment.
So the order now, Todd Kelly, Neil Crompton in second, Tony Longhurst in third, Stephen Johnson in fourth, Paul Morris, who just pitted, he was the last guy to pit, he's now in fifth, Brad Jones is in sixth. That's the battle we're watching now as it ducks under the screen. Look at this queue of cars all the way from Brad Jones right back. And there's our race leader, Todd Kelly, in the My Car.
He's got a little bit of damage on his front left there.
Holden Young Lions Commodore.
I would have laid money on the reverse grid thing that we'd have had the pace car out at least 3 times by now. But
the gap really between these two, Barry, is out to about 1.9 seconds. You can see the My Car Holden Young Lions entry is sporting a bit of battle scars. But the 20-year-old leads the way from Neil Crompton, who's coming under siege from Tony Longhurst. Look at the background there. As they work their way down toward Kings Avenue.
Well, I spoke to Todd Kelly earlier in the week, and he said, I just love this place. I'm really, really enjoying it from the moment he got out there. Thought it was a circuit he could really get stuck into. He really wanted to attack it. And he's certainly doing it here. He's got in the lead. The first time in the lead of a Shell Championship Series race for Holden's young line. Todd Kelly, just 20 years of age, from Mildura in Victoria. He was a standout performer in single-seater racing cars, both Formula Ford and Formula Holden. Now doing a superb job in the premier category in Australia, V8 Supercars, as they fire down Flynn Drive once again. Here's Neil Crompton in second position.
I spoke to Neil this morning, and he was saying that they found something, they changed something for the warm-up, and the car is just like night and day. It's just so much better, and the way it's going at the moment, we can believe it.
You see there on the Munro driver profile that his best result ever in the Shell Championship Series is a second. Well, at the moment, he's on course to equal that, Stephen Ellery. Now that's down into the chicane area there between Flynn Drive and Flynn Place, is it? No?
Heading off around State Circle.
Yeah.
So he's come into grief there. It's a shame for the Super Cheap Autos team. They've been doing a good job this weekend. And this is the view. Paul Radisich, Shell, number 18. Oh, right up behind Glenn Seaton's car. Let's see if we can take you for a worm's eye view, if you like, of the Canberra Street Course. Paul Radisich, right up behind Glenn Seaton, and this is the battle for 11th position. A big queue of cars there, all getting caught up behind Cameron McLean. Mark Scaife apparently getting very hot-tempered, stuck in behind the Greenfield Mowers Ford, but McLean fighting hard for position. There goes Jones, there's McLean, there's Scaife, Perkins, Seaton, Radisich, Larkham. What a fantastic battle.
It is a good battle, and the reality is, if you don't want to let somebody past here, I mean, really, you don't have to do it. You know, you drive in the middle of the road, and Cameron's covering his line everywhere, and it's going to be such a struggle for Scaife to get by. I reckon where he's going to have a go is down into the sort of chicane before they come, just before the start and finish.
Scaife's patience is clearly wearing.
Oh, look, this is the same thing again.
Scaife through.
There you go. That's it. You see, that's his front. Oh, touch Perkins.
Well, in the heat of battle there, and there was no room for Glenn Seaton to get past. McLean quickly dived back to about mid-track and covered the line, but it's allowed Perkins to muscle his way through now. We jump back and look at this battle as Seaton rather, and Radisich continue to battle down towards Flynn Place.
You'd have to say that would have totally knackered the front left-hand tyre on Cameron. Cameron McLean's car. So Larry's on the curb.
I said it's the world's fastest lawnmower. He's doing a bit of that at the moment. Look at the queue behind him.
Yeah, he's in diabolical trouble with the front left now. He's definitely not getting out of the way, though.
Well, he doesn't have to get out of the way. He's racing for race position.
Exactly.
He's got every right to fight for position just like anyone else in this field. So Cameron McLean really fighting tooth and nail to stay in the top 10. He's currently in 10th position. Behind him, he's got Seaton, Radisich, Ingle, Larkham, Lowndes, Bargwana. Look at the quality behind him, and Greg Murphy, yesterday's race winner. He's back in 17th position after that altercation earlier in the race. There he is, Murphy. John Faulkner and the Team Asia online machine right behind. So the order at the moment, Todd Kelly still leading. 3.1 seconds the gap over Neil Crompton in second. Tony Longhurst in third. Look at this battle here. Seaton fighting hard because Paul Radisich is trying to get the nose of the Shell Ford right alongside. Tremendous cut and thrust. This is maximum pressure racing in V8 Supercar. Very narrow strip of bitumen. Only 8 metres between those concrete walls. You've got to be precise, but you've got to be aggressive.
So Stephen Ellery is going to get shown the black flag. Not quite sure what that is for. We'll get some more information on that for you as it comes to hand. As this freight train works down.
That has to be a problem with the front left brake on Cameron McLean's car, because that's every time into that corner he's locked up the front left. So if you see there right in the background, it looks like he's almost stopped.
He might have had a deflating left front tire this time.
No doubt, he's worn through it.
Oh, he was so unlucky yesterday. Picked up, there's a black flag being shown there to one of the cars.
Yeah, for Ellery, that is, I think.
So now Seaton leads this huge group down through the chicane.
Fastest lap, fastest man on the track so far this race, John Bauer, 1:45.66 in the Caterpillar Ford. He is having a real up and down sort of weekend in the national capital. Just touches the wall. Paul Radicic on the charge, trying to find a way past the FTR Falcon. Look at these great pictures from the front spoiler of the Shell Helix number 18 car. Right up behind.
You can see the red paint on the back there. Looks like he's been a little bit closer than that before.
So Glenn Seaton fighting hard as they come up toward Queen Victoria Terrace once again, up over the curves. Look at that, look how much air he gets under the car.
That's a bad one.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll get a safety car, because that's in a bit of a dodgy position there. If somebody runs straight on, they're going to go straight into the front of Faulkner's thing.
What was the catalyst that set all that off?
Get out of line here, and the penalties can be severe. John Faulkner's just experienced that. Look how hard he hit that concrete wall. Team Asia online machine having a very competitive run today. He was right up in the thick of things.
Yeah, I don't blame John. I'd get out of it if I was him.
John Faulkner. That would have been a very, very hard hit in the back when he crunched that concrete wall. Fast part of the circuit. Seen a lot of cars getting in trouble in that area. And John Faulkner's just paid a very heavy price.
Russell's become the king of the curb hoppers today, hasn't he? So
that's thing with... Oh, look at this. Right, let's see what's...
Now, Ingle was
slowed, and Faulkner just... There's some problem with Ingle. Faulkner got on it, and it looked as if there's a bit of balance, too much brake on the back, and it just locked the back end up.
I wonder what happened to the Castrol magnetic. Look at this.
I don't know.
John has obviously realised that there was something wrong with Larry's car, and possibly with a bit too much brake bias to the rear or something.
Yeah, it's Russell's car. I don't know. There's obviously a problem there with Russell's thing. We don't know, but that's sad for John Faulkner. That's just a racing accident, that is. You know, it's nobody's fault. It's just one of those things. That was Cameron McLean did have a deflated front left tyre. No, I didn't think he could get away with it for much longer.
Now Russell is dropping right back through the field as well as we watch our timing monitors. There is John Faulkner. Let's go trackside. Grant?
I'm down here with Craig Hollowell from Team Asia Online. Craig, how is John?
Look, he's fine. Unfortunately, it looked like there was brake problems. He had no pedal whatsoever, and he tried to put the brakes to the rear, and unfortunately just locked up the rear and got into the wall. But we'll try and get the Team Asia Online car finished as soon as we can, and hopefully be out for the next race.
It's a tough job ahead. Good luck to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's tough indeed on the streets of Canberra. These blokes are finding out. John Faulkner.
Yeah, I thought he must have had some kind of problem, because it looked like all the brakes were on the rear of the car.
So the order at the moment, Todd Kelly still 3 points. He's actually expanding his lead. Russell Ingle's been in again. He's got tape on the windscreen. All sorts of problems here with the Castrol Commodore at the moment.
So the complexion of this reverse grid race just keeps on changing. One thing that hasn't, though, Todd Kelly is at the front of the field ahead of Neil Crompton, Tony Longhurst, Stephen Johnson, Paul Morris sits in 5th, Stephen Richards 6th. He's gotten ahead of Brad Jones, and Mark Scape in 8th.
Larry Perkins, Glenn Seaton, Paul Radicic, Craig Lowndes, Mark Larkham, Greg Murphy, Jason Bargwanna, and Dougal McDougal. More after the break.
We're back on the streets of Canberra, and what a result this would be for Todd Kelly if he can hang on. We're just over halfway through the race, as you can see, in the second of our GMC 400 contests this weekend. Neil Crompton second, Tony Longhurst third. That's a heck of a contest as well. We'll go back to our commentators, Greg Rust and Mark Osler.
What an amazing performance from Todd Kelly. Made his Shell Championship debut at Eastern Creek in 1999. Only 8 times or 8 starts he's made in the championship, and he now leads a race. So this is just fantastic for the youngster. No doubt Dean Trewin and the team from My Car would be loving this. The Young Lions entry makes his way down the front straight. Russell Ingle noticeably going into the pits there again, so there's a problem with the Castrol Magnatec Commodore. But this is Kelly leading the way, the youngster from Mildura, ahead of Neil Crompton and Tony Longhurst.
I think I saw somebody go straight on then in the background. If it was, it would have been Crompton.
Well, as I was saying yesterday, Todd Kelly coming from a single-seater Formula background, if you like.
I think it might have been Tony Longhurst there too.
Oh yeah, I saw somebody. I don't know where it was. Crompton. Longhurst.
Oh,
We've had a big one. We've had a big one just outside our commentary box. Paul Morris has gone off by the looks of things. Straight on under brakes.
and Tony Longhurst in trouble too. Has he got a flat tyre?
Yes.
I just saw Paul Morris out of the side of my eye go flying off the end of the main straight.
That thing just launched. We'll endeavour to get some vision of that for you, folks. But he flew off.
There he is.
Oh, look at that. He's got it there. How quick has he gone into that?
That's right down the... Safety car is on standby in the pits we hear, but he's gone. Look at
That
this.
is just lock her up on the back.
Look
And
at the
she's done a
speed.
complete...
Look at this. Wow.
Yeah, it looks like the tyre problem. It fell to pieces or something. That's a heavy impact, I tell you.
We just have a window at the side of our commentary box, very close to this position. And I just saw this yellow-green flash just went past. He went up the escape road at an incredible pace.
You see how far it's gone in there. He won't be able to get out because the
Tyre wall there, yeah. The nose of the Big Kev Racing Commodore is buried right in those tyres there. The marshals are on hand. We have heard Paul Morris talking.
Now look at this. Yeah, it's something on one of the back tyres is gone by the look of it.
Whoa.
What? Wow, that was a major impact.
Well, the CAM's track safety inspectors will be happy to see that. Look how well that escape road's worked. That's gathered him up at very high speed, and those tyres have done the job. They've absorbed the impact, and I'm sure Paul Morris will be... Hopefully Paul Morris will be okay. But that was a very, very high-speed lose. Todd Kelly, meanwhile, continues to lead this one. 4 seconds, the gap now over Neil Crompton in second, who's battling hard with Stephen Johnson. Stephen Richards in fourth, Brad Jones in fifth. Mark Scaife still in sixth, Larry Perkins, Glenn Seaton, Paul Radisich, and Craig Lowndes rounds out the top 10. So 3 Holden Racing Team Commodores in the top 10 at this stage.
Rotten luck for Tony Longhurst in the Caltex Haviland Ford, because, I was just going to say, he's dropping down the timing order, and that is the reason why. He was up in third, is now down to 16th. That front left has let go.
He was locked in a really good battle there with Crompton for second position. So flat tyres becoming the order of the day on the streets of Canberra. A lot of the drivers have been saying there's a fair bit of garbage and rubbish around the track. Bits and pieces have been puncturing tyres left, right and centre. Tony Longhurst pays a heavy price. Fortunately, he can continue. Hopefully none of the brake components or the under tray or anything has been damaged with that flat tyre. So Todd Kelly still in a commanding lead. 4 seconds he has over Neil Crompton. And Stephen Johnson, some 11 seconds behind the FTR coach. So the field at the front has now become quite spaced out. I'm not sure if the safety car is going to be employed due to that incident with Paul Morris. Tony Longhurst now tries to get back into the action. He's lost a lot of track position.
Oh, Paul Morris is out of the car and he's walking. I can see him. He's outside of our commentary box.
So Mark Scaife now up behind Brad Jones. Larry Perkins, Brad Jones in fifth, Mark Scaife in sixth, Larry Perkins in seventh. And a bit further back is Glenn Seaton, Paul Radisich and Craig Lowndes battling for 8th spot. So tremendous battles right up and down through the grid. Let's go to Grant Denyer.
Yeah, I'm down here with Greg Wooster from Big Kev Racing. Now, Greg, that looked like a big off.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. He just locked up rear brakes coming into turn 1 here. He's been pushing pretty hard with, we've just been trying to conserve our tyres. That's all for the last race. So we'll just see how we go after this one.
Hopefully we'll see you back for race 3.
Well, hopefully, yeah. I think it's just a bit of brake fade and stuff like that. So we'll see how we go.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
I think he might think a bit different when he sees the car.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he went into that big pillow down the end of that.
Ingle's been black flagged, by the way.
Right, we'll check out the Shell Helix race score for you. In this one, the reverse grid, Todd Kelly leads the way by almost 4 seconds from Neil Crompton. Steve Johnson in third, Stephen Richards in fourth. Then it's Brad Jones, Mark Scaife, Larry Perkins and Glenn Seaton makes up the top 8.
Paul Radisich, Craig Lowndes, Mark Larkham. Look at the quality in that field, all the way down to Trevor Ashby. We've got a great fight going on the streets of Canberra. Back with more.
3 laps to go on the GMC 400 race 2, and this is one of Australian motorsport's great rivalries at the moment. Mark Scaife trying desperately to get past Brad Jones. It's a rivalry that's mainly off the track lately. You've possibly seen them clashing verbally on the V8 Superstars panel show, and they are rubbing panels right here at the GMC 400. Todd Kelly leads from Neil Crompton, Stephen Johnson, Stephen Richards. This is the battle for 5th. Jones holding out Scaife, and there's no love lost here.
Oh, look at him, Scaife flashing his lights.
Next round, of course, Queensland Raceway, where all the battles will continue, and this has delivered so much. It's made the Shell Championship Series absolutely magnificent. What's in store for us for the rest of the afternoon?
Look at Scaife flashing the lights. He cannot wait to get past Bradley here.
Well, this is actually a thing the HRT have set up. They've got a switch on the dashboard. They can switch it and they automatically flash on and off like that without the drivers having to do it. So it's full-time intimidation, if you like. Scaife using everything he can to try and get past this Aussie male forward. But Brad Jones equal to the task. He's been driving a very smooth, very conservative line. Has not given Scaife even a sniff of an opportunity so far.
Oh, Scaife, it'd have to be Houdini to get past him. Look at the way Bradley's going.
We've got to say, how good is the format of racing here at Canberra this weekend? We have seen just so many different people in some scintillating positions. Look at this.
I'd love to hear what Scaife is saying on his radio. I don't think we could play it on the air, though.
Just to give you an idea, if Todd Kelly takes this one out, this obviously will be his first ever Shell Championship race win. 2 laps to go. Neil Crompton equals his best ever performance. Best ever effort also for Stephen Johnson and for Brad Jones. So some real standouts in this second race.
Yeah, isn't it fantastic? I've been saying for a long time that 3 20-minute heats are well past their use-by date. These cars are so even in performance. You have to have races like this with pit stops and reverse grids and all sorts of things to provide a lot of different winners, a lot of different strategies. Makes the racing so much more exciting. Canberra's really turned on a beautiful example of that this weekend. We've still got another 50 lapper to go. Boy, it's an overdose of action.
I can't see Scaife is going to risk trying to get past Jonesy, because there's just no way that...
Here's our race leader, Todd Kelly. 2.9 seconds the gap now. It's come down to just under 3 seconds. Crompton in pursuit in the FDR Falcon. You can just see him at the left of screen. He's in second position. Stephen Johnson some 9 seconds behind the FDR car now in third. So this is the battle for the lead. Can Crompton close the gap? He's running out of time. Todd Kelly, 20-year-old young lion, driving the third of the Holden Racing Team Commodores. And there's Neil Crompton in second position.
Crompton has gotten around.
Tander moved out of the way.
Exactly, yeah. Sorry, Tander rather moved out of the way to let Kelly through. So that's a good piece of driving by Tander, and no doubt he'll do the same for Neil Crompton as they come across the start-finish line this time around. Last lap board being shown. We go back to the battle of the foes, if you like.
It's the battle for 5th position. Brad Jones and Mark Scaife.
It's classic, isn't it?
Oh,
dear me.
Scaife knows he's running out of time. He's got just over 4 kilometres to do something about it. Brad Jones has drove so far, well, it's like a faultless race under this sort of pressure. Haven't seen any lock brakes or any wild moments. He's kept Scaife boxed in. You can imagine the steam coming out of Scaife's ears right now. He hasn't been able to find a way past. Lights flashing. Here's Stephen Johnson, and hasn't he done a good job today? 3rd position in the Shell Helix Ford for Junior.
They really seem to have got Steve's car sorted out today, because it was all over the show yesterday. It was handling really, it looked so soft and all over the, you know, wallowing on acceleration out of the corners and changing direction. It looked terrible. It looks much better now.
Well, the 25-year-old who lives on the Gold Coast these days is doing a terrific job, taking over the number 17 entry from his famous father, Dick. And has just had a quiet year in real terms, but this will do his confidence no end of good. Stephen Richards, another great performance. 3rd place yesterday in race 1 and 4th place in this one. Certainly looking good for pole position for this afternoon's big one. So Stephen Richards.
Just, if you're wondering at home how that works, it's based on your race results for the first of these 2 25-lap races. So Stephen Richards, on sheer consistency, is working his way toward probably the best starting position for the all-important double-point 50-lap final.
Great result for Todd Kelly.
2.1 seconds the gap, but he's going to run out of time.
So here he comes, the youngster from Mildura, up onto the start-finish line in the My Car, Holden Young Lions entry, and grabs the checkered flag. Well done. That's a marvellous performance. Indeed, it was a top job.
Well, it's just amazing, isn't it? Holden Racing Team have seen them winning a lot of races. They're still keeping the red flag flying, but here's the battle between Brad Jones and Mark Scaife. It's been on all race. Brad's got one more corner, and he'll bring it home in front of the championship leader, Mark Scaife. So well done to Brad Jones. Excellent race performance from the Aussie male team. That's his best result so far. So Brad Jones, when they started the championship this year, they were qualifying in the high 28s. They were 2.5 seconds off the pace, but very quickly they are knocking this Aussie male forward into shape. Well done.
That sets up a fantastic finale. The big one is still to come your way this afternoon. The winner of the reverse grid was Todd Kelly. Neil Crompton in second place. Stephen Johnson, a fantastic performance for third. And it's Richards, Brad Jones for fifth, Mark Scaife sixth, Larry Perkins seventh, and Glenn Seaton rounds out the top eight. We'll be back with more in just a few moments.